Welcome to City Show Radio. Pat O'Melia here, as always, here on GGR. And as I ask you every week to download the Live 365 app. If you're already listening to me, you've downloaded the Live 365 app. So I need you to tell your friends. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad. Tell people you see on the street. Download the Live 365 app. Then you can listen to GGR. But there's a lot of other programming on Live 365, not just me. A lot of music, a lot of podcast stuff. And everything's podcast now. I've been doing podcasts for 20 years before it was called a podcast. But you can watch all that podcast stuff and just download the Live 365 app. Now, this is going to be the last city show until we come back from hiatus. We're going to work on a demo show next week with John Hines from Hudson County View Live. He and I will sit down and we'll be discussing Hudson County politics and things statewide. And we'll hopefully take your calls. I think we're going to do that Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. John will have it on his website. We'll tweet all this stuff out. So please participate. And we'll see how that goes. We'll probably do it at least 2 weeks in a row. Get a feel and see if it's something we want to do going forward as we start getting our shows together. I'll be setting up a radio station at North Bergen High School probably next week or the week after. Then I got to speak to my other high schools. It looks like we're going to be dealing with Hoboken High School, possibly Secaucus High School. It's a matter of a busing issue with Secaucus High School. See, it's tough when you run into schools that don't have Abbott funding. Like North Bergen, they got to pay for this bus service. It's not Abbott funded, so they don't have money to just throw anywhere. Same thing with Secaucus. And NJCU, we got to figure out what we're doing with their kids. And yesterday, I got a call from students at Rutgers who are interested in joining our little group here of radio and TV production program. So we're probably bringing some Rutgers kids, and we got the NJCU. There's a lot going on. Probably leaving Hudson County Community College, but that's something we'll talk about at a later date. There's always something going on here. Right now, we're going to break for commercial. You're listening to the City Show Radio. I'll be right back.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
We're back. City Show Radio. Pat O'Melia here with a little baby bottle of water. Actually, I just picked up a couple of cases of these little baby bottles of water. The only place I can find them is down at BJ's in Tom's River. When I'm down here on Seaside, I was riding by. I said, let me stop in there, get some water, baby bottle water. But we use the big bottles here, and they're all over the studio then, like half bottles, and it become my plant water. But the baby bottles, we don't have them hanging around the studio as much. So get a couple of cases. They've got like 72 a case. And when you have bad knees, they're pretty heavy to lift. And there's none of them BJ employees around when you got to lift a used case of water. All right, let's talk about things. Yeah, I always try to stay local, but we do some of the national stuff. I am astounded at the protest in D.C., Washington, D.C., where people are actually protesting over President Trump's crackdown on crime. He has made, I think the last numbers I heard was like 400 arrests. They took, a dozen of illegal guns off the streets. People are actually saying that they could go to a restaurant now, they feel safe on the streets of D.C. But you wouldn't know that by some of the media and the Democrats. And you start to wonder about the political climate we have here. We're worried about climate change. Yeah, we need some climate change. We need some political climate change. That there are actually people protesting about the crime crackdown. Are you effing serious? Now, again, I'm in Jersey City. I'm pretty far from D.C. I only know what's going on from what the news reports say. And now all these statistics are coming out. A couple of police have been suspended for fudging the numbers on crime in D.C., which is probably, every municipality is probably fudging the numbers somewhat. Obviously, it's a bad situation. You had news reporters on stations that aren't friendly to President Trump actually saying that their co-workers have been mugged, carjacked, shot at. So there's obviously a problem. And what really highlights the problem, it's the nation's capital. People, dignitaries from all over the world visit there. And it's going to have to be somewhat safe. I know it's America. We have a lot of rights here. But you just can't have crime rampant, I should say, in the streets. Now, you hear things like Hillary Clinton and Chuck Schumer saying, well, I walk on the streets of Washington every day and I feel safe. Well, yeah, you got a whole security detail with you. Mom, who's walking along with a child, she doesn't have a security detail, an armed security detail. So, yeah, there's a little difference between Hillary Clinton and Chuck Schumer walking the streets of D.C. and the average Joe or Mrs. Joe. I applaud Trump for taking the initiative here to fight crime. I would like to see him coming to New York. And all these cities that say crime is down, then you watch the news, somebody just got stabbed in the subways or pushed in front of a train, the shooting at a nightclub, 3 are dead. There's crime rampant. And they'll say, well, the numbers are coming down. Well, they're not coming down enough that you can feel safe there. Now, I know last week, last week or the week before, I mentioned Rudy Giuliani, before he went off the deep end and went into Crazyville. When he was the mayor, he cracked down on crime in New York City. It can be done, cracking down. You have to untie the police hands and let them go after the criminals. And they had that what was called broken windows. The idea is if you see a broken window, there's a crime, find out who broke the window, bring that person to justice. Times Square is back, and it's a big economic engine for New York City. But if you look back before Rudy Giuliani, there was no economic engine there. There was a lot of problems on Times Square. He cleaned that up, and that cleaned up Broadway, all that work. Make cities safe, and people will be happy to live there. They'll be happy to spend their money there. They'll be happy to shop. They'll be happy to go to the plays and go to the movies. But right now, New York City, that's too friggin' scary. And I keep talking about mass transit. Who the hell would want to go in to the subways in New York City? I mean, on a daily basis, there's crime there. Stabbings, muggings, just pushing in front of the train, setting people on fire. Who the hell wants to go there? And it's the policies we have here now where we really coddle criminals, especially with the bail reforms. We got to change that. But again, I applaud Trump what he's doing. He's seen a problem in D.C., and he had the authority as the President of the United States in the District of Columbia in D.C. to take action, and he did. And he's cleaning up the streets. Now, you may hear Hillary or Schumer or some other Democrats or people from the legacy media, as they call it, complaining, and it's a civil rights break violation. And it's all a distraction with the Epstein file. The Epstein files are now in Congress. I don't think Trump's going to have a problem with the Epstein file. Some other people may have a problem with the Epstein files. Bill Clinton probably will. Bill Gates probably will. There's a lot of people are going to have some problems with the Epstein files. Now, I want to warn you, just because people were friends with the Epstein guy doesn't make them a pedophile, as Epstein was. It's guilt by association. That doesn't really work. But people are going to get dragged through the mud on this with Epstein. And I know Bill Clinton is one of them that's going to get dragged through the mud. And here's a guy that should be revered. But you remember how Clinton was in office. He liked the ladies, and he liked the ladies when he was hanging with Epstein. Now those records and files are now with Congress, so we'll see what comes of that. But I don't think this is a distraction. Even when you get down to what Trump's doing right now with Ukraine and Russia. There are reporters who have been covering Washington for decades, who've never seen anything like this, what he's pulling off here. Getting all the world leaders, you got Zelensky, you got Putin here, discussing his peace. He will probably pull this out of his hat. And this is like the fourth, fifth, sixth, something war since he's been president that he's managed to mediate and bring peace. He probably will win a Nobel Prize, and my heads will explode if this guy does it. Somewhere along the line, again, I've said this many times, after the campaign, the politics has to stop. It's the job of the elected officials to deal with the problems of the nation and the people. You got to make the nation successful. We got to improve the economy. We got to make it safe. That seems to be the two main things Trump is doing. But you can't have the Democratic Party trying to pull it down every chance and trying to criticize every move. This guy brings peace to Russia after bringing peace to the Middle East. I don't know what more you want from him. We talk about Nixon going to China, how historically amazing that was. Well, it's going to be nothing compared to what Trump's doing here. I think we got to put down the political differences and the Dems versus the Republicans and get to the business of the people. And business of the people, they want to be safe. You want to be able to walk the streets. You want to be at home at night and know your daughter's at the movies and she's safe. Or your wife or your mother. You don't have to worry about this stuff. And this guy seems to be pulling this off. I would have no problem if he went to Chicago, New York, Jersey City. Our crime isn't as bad as New York or Chicago. But listen, any kind of help to fight crime in any major city, mid-size or large, I'm sure that would be welcome. I know as a resident, I would welcome it. That's for damn sure. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You're listening to the City Show Radio. I'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
We're back. City Show. Pat O'Melia here. We're talking about crime. Somewhere along the line, we got to realize that we need the president and this administration to be successful. We want him to be successful. It behooves us all for them to be successful. We have to stop throwing rocks at everything this guy does. And like I said, it's positive what he's doing here in D.C. It's positive what he's doing with Russia and Ukraine. But you wouldn't know it by listening to some of the Democrats and some of the media. If this guy pulls off Russia and Ukraine, he will win a Nobel Prize. And that'll be astounding. Like I said before, heads will explode if that happened. Parking. As I've said many, many times on my shows, whether on radio, television, doesn't matter. Parking is a huge issue. I'm a guy from the Heights of Jersey City, where parking is at a premium at any time of the day. I pay for my parking, about $350 a month. I pay the city of Jersey City to park my cars. Actually, back in 2000, I assisted, I should say. I shouldn't say I put. I insisted and assisted on putting a parking lot on Congress and Central to take cars off the streets before the light rail came in. It really worked for about a year, but we took about 15 cars off the street by putting that lot there. And it was like a utopia for a while. We took 15 cars off. I had a parking spot in the lot. A lot of the neighborhood people, they all got permits. 15 cars went in the lot. 15 spots opened on the block and around the block. It was a utopia. It was so nice for about a year until that light rail opened down the hill. And then the utopia was gone. People were driving up, taking up the parking spots, getting on the light rail and going to work. It is one of the few lots that the city of Jersey City still operates. Jersey City got into the business of selling the lots to developers. Many lots. We lost lots on Five Corners. It goes on and on. The municipal lots that have been sold. Private lots have been sold. There's no demo involved. Even on Central Avenue now, eventually we're going to lose the lot when we build the new police station, whatever that happens. We're supposed to be building a new north where you got the Burger King. They're going to be losing that lot because they're going to build a residential project there with parking, but the parking kind of evens out to as many residential units. I don't know if that's going to help shopping on Central Avenue. We lost half a lot to the post office. Well, when you look at all the development that's going on in Jersey City, a lot of it, especially near the Heights, has been built on parking lots. Summit and Pavonia, where the 3 towers are, that was a parking lot. Where the commissioner's building is on Pavonia and Summit, there was a parking lot there, and now they built a big building on it. Why the county of Hudson didn't buy that parking lot is beyond me. Now it's a big parking problem with the new Francarini Justice Center in place. Looks like the big garage they built can only accommodate about 40% of the cars that are anticipated. Well, shouldn't we have purchased that lot then? Yeah, you got to look at the foresight sometimes of the county. Say, this lot was sitting there, and it was a private lot. Could have bought that. Somebody bought it. For that matter, I know who bought it. Barry and Panapinto. And they're building that huge Irby building on it. The square ramp. That's going bye-bye. That's going to be a residential unit. I don't know how many hundreds of parking spots we just lost on Journal Square. That's gone. The parking lot on Sip and Summit. If you ever went to the motor vehicles or you went to unemployment, whatever the case was, you parked in that lot. Not anymore. There's a big apartment building on it or a condominium complex. All these lots are gone. And for that matter, there's a small lot on Summit just north of Sip Avenue. That's about to go bye-bye because they're going to build on that. So we lose parking constantly. But in a shocking turn of events, the city of Jersey City actually approved the parking lot. It may be the first approved parking lot in the last 20 years, probably since the lot on Congress and Central. I think that was the last one we brought online here. It will be located, it's a private one too, at 549 Summit Avenue. I applaud whoever's building that parking lot. You will make a fortune. But of course, there are some people who don't drive and they have a problem with this. And immediately they start calling in saying it's going to become a heat source. The sun's going to reflect off the ground and it'll cause tropical summer or whatever the hell they're calling it. There's going to be pollution by the cars pulling into that lot. They came up with so many bogus excuses. Listen, I know some of these people, you like to take your bus. We don't have much of a bus service in Jersey City, but you like to take your bus. I don't blame you because your bus ride is subsidized by 75%. What I would really like to see, if mass transit at least broke even, instead of us subsidizing the bus ticket or the light rail ticket or the ferry ticket. I know in Hoboken right now, there was a path problem, so New York Waterways was charging $5 a ferry ride. So now Hoboken's seen it. So, well, let's keep it at $5 a ferry ride, and we'll find other sources to make up the difference. Yeah, it's your sources, your tax dollars are going to go towards somebody getting a cheap ride. That's the problem we have with transit. We don't have a true price of transit. It's all subsidized. 75% of New Jersey transit is subsidized. And the people complain and they talk about costs. Here's the thing. It's simple math. Stand out on any friggin' street corner and see how many cars go by, then see how many mass transit vehicles go by, and then also pay attention to how many bikes go by. You're going to see a huge difference in those numbers in the favor of cars. We have to stop squeezing the cars or acting as if no matter what we do to cars, they'll still come here. Eventually, they won't be able to. Eventually, they're going to put a fee on deliveries in Jersey City because the traffic is so ridiculous. For that matter, I sent a story out to Solomon, O'Day, Jimmy McGreevy, Mayor Fulop, that Jersey City is the hardest working city in the nation. How is it the hardest working? Well, to live here, you have to work like 70 hours a week just to afford to live in Jersey City. The commute inside Jersey City is 37 minutes. Think about that. It takes 37 minutes if you happen to work in Jersey City, and not many of us do anymore because we just don't have jobs here anymore like the old days. It takes you almost 40 minutes to get to work. That's freaking ridiculous. But that's because we create these problems to travel in Jersey City. It takes me, if I'm leaving my studio in North Bergen to go to City Hall down on Grove Street, it'll take me almost the same amount of time it takes me to get to Seaside Heights when I go down the shore. That's a problem. And it's not the issue in North Bergen. I don't run into the problem until I get on top of Patterson Plank Road by the coach house. Then the fun begins, where the streets are closed. We squeeze the lane so much to fit in these stupid bike lanes that nobody uses that the traffic is it's almost standstill. And we create our own traffic problems. Division Zero creates traffic problems. Here's the thing. The streets are dangerous. You shouldn't be in a street. Simple as that. But if you can ride a bike like I did when I was a kid, you're okay. I didn't need any protected bike lanes. I didn't need any. I guess I was really an exceptional bicyclist because I didn't need any of the things the adults are crying for now, that they feel unsafe. The bunch of friggin' snowflakes that we have in this city. But all these things we do to pacify, I wanted to use a childish description, these minority, very small minority of people who bike is crushing this city. And it's going to be a very expensive city because of it. For that matter, they put in bike lanes on Summit Avenue by Five Corners. These are so incredibly stupid, they are comical. Especially when you get to see the bike lanes from 139 to Five Corners going south. I mean, you look at it, and they should have skulls and crossbones in there. It is dangerous. I was actually watching an ambulance try to get through this thing. You got the protected bike lanes on one side by parked cars. The other side, you got the plastic boulder rod. You got ridiculous, it's not even straight bike lanes. This is stupid to the point that it's comical. That's why we're just talking about coming out of hiatus. We got to bring the city show TV back. And what we'll probably do radio and TV simultaneously. Then after the half-hour city show is done, we'll say goodbye to TV and continue with the radio. I wish we were on television right now so I could show you a picture of how stupid and comically stupid these bike lanes are, going from 139 south to Five Corners. And what even gets even funnier, and it just keeps getting better, as you go past, continuing south on Summit Avenue, they got the freshly painted bike lanes. And if you look closely, you'll see the freshly marked PS&G or somebody road project, whatever is coming, that they're going to be digging up Summit Avenue right over the freshly installed bike lanes. You can see the spray can markings. You talk about one hand not knowing what the other's doing, one hand just throwing your tax dollars away for, first off, underutilized. Underutilized doesn't even express the lack of utilization of bike lanes. Yet they're not using them. And I know this guy on Twitter was going freaking out on this. They keep bringing up these city bike numbers. I don't believe anything city bike says. I don't believe. Also, I think we're subsidizing city bike also. Also, we subsidize the VIA, the minivan transit service. You're paying for all that. Even though you're not using it, you're paying for all this. Again, getting back to parking lots, we need more parking lots. I applaud these people at 549. I can't wait for them to do the grand opening. I will come down there, and I will cover that grand opening. We need more parking lots. We can probably use some parking garages. They're expensive parking garages. These spots cost about $30,000 in a parking garage. But we have land where we can have parking lots, and the city can make money on parking lots. North Bergen Township, where I am right now, my studio, has more municipal parking than the city of Jersey City, parking lot-wise. How is that effing possible? But you know what? In North Bergen, there's no traffic problems. You don't hit traffic until you get out of it. You can tell when you're in Jersey City. You don't need a sign saying, "Welcome to Jersey City." You know you're there because you hit traffic. Because it's just, the infrastructure is poorly managed. For that matter, I'm going to get into that later about a community meeting on the south side of the city up on MLK Drive and Ocean Avenue, where the infrastructure team was so woefully unprepared that it become a very tense meeting, where tempers started to flare because they came in there and they just wanted to do their dance like they do in the Heights, and everybody goes like seals. Oh, yes, oh, that's so good. Idiots. South side of Jersey City wasn't putting up with that. They made their feelings known. So we'll get into that later. Jersey City has to address the car situation, and it makes me laugh when we okay a building. It'll be like 400 units, and there'll be no parking. They'll always say, "Well, no, the people they're moving of New York, they don't have cars. They don't need cars." And it's such BS, and they're just lying to ourselves when we do this. You want to see the difference? Now, again, Jersey City guy in my life. Go down to 18th Street and Jersey Avenue, where it used to be an industrial area, where there used to be jobs. No jobs anymore. They rebuilt residential high-rises. We can't do that for affordable, for some reason. Affordable housing, we can't build high-rises where we can have 300 units in a building. Can't do that. We can do it for market rate, but we can't do it. Well, I don't know what the difference is. It costs more money? Is that high-rise costs more money for affordable? If it's a $25 million building, does it cost $50 million because it's affordable or something? We can only build townhouses. We need these token little townhouses. No, this is what we should be doing. We should be building high-rises like we did in the past. But go down to 18th and Jersey Avenue and see that nobody's using cars at those new complexes. There are freaking cars all over the place down there. Hoboken Avenue behind Christ Hospital, there was never cars on that road. There are cars all over that road now, all parked all the way up the hill. They're parked on 18th. They're parked on Jersey Avenue. They're parked behind Jersey Avenue. They're parked all over. These are the people who aren't going to need cars. They're from New York. They don't want cars. Of course they want. That's why they moved here. But you guys keep lying to yourselves. You're not lying to yourself. You're lying to us. You know what the truth is, but you sit there and you say these things like it's the truth. Nobody needs that. They're not going to need cars here in Jersey City. Oh, they use mass transit. Guess what? We don't have mass transit. Our bus service sucks, and it's because it's New Jersey Transit. We used to have good bus service years ago when people worked in Jersey City, and when buses actually were professionally managed, and they would turn a profit. When New Jersey Transit got involved, since they have no respect for money because it's your money, they really ran all these places out of business. Jersey Transit didn't care what they were charging for a fare because you're paying for it. It's subsidized by the taxpayers. Those Academy bus and AC bus and all the private concerns couldn't compete with that. So out of business they went. That's why you don't have a Bergen Avenue bus anymore. Why you don't have a Central Avenue bus anymore. You don't have a Garfield Avenue bus anymore. You don't have the 440 Shopper bus anymore. Montgomery Street bus, they're all gone. All you're left with is the horrible, worst-run transportation system in the United States, New Jersey Transit, which we will just keep shoveling your good money into, and they will just waste it from incompetent management. Which they hire. You go to Indeed, and New Jersey Transit actually advertises for incompetent buffoons. We need incompetent buffoons to work on our transit system. And unfortunately, there's a lot of incompetent buffoons out there, and New Jersey Transit hires them. Whether it's the light rail, the trains, the buses, doesn't make a difference. If you're stupid, you can get a job at New Jersey Transit. You're an incompetent buffoon, New Jersey Transit's looking for you. Go ahead, fill out an application online. Go to that big complex they just opened up in Newark. Why did they open up a big complex in Newark and pay huge money? Because they're New Jersey Transit, and it's not yours, not their money, it's yours. They don't give a crap what they're spending. They don't care. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You listen to the City Radio Show. I'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease. but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
We're back. City Show Radio. Pat O'Melia here on GGR. We're talking about New Jersey Transit. Actually, I was talking about parking lots. Then I got into New Jersey Transit. We need more parking lots. How do we do that? There's land. For that matter, Steve Phillip just dedicated a new park on 16th Street. That was a parking lot. Now it's a park. Oh, rides, swings and all that. Good for the neighborhood. I'm sure if you would have questioned the adults that live there, they said we would have liked to continue to have a parking lot there, but not to be, not to be. Big thing in the news this week, I think Craig Guy, the county exec, is part of this. There is a climate recovery fund. Bill number, where is the bill number? Bill number in Trenton is 4696. The recovery fund wants to go after oil companies, fossil fuel, and charge them for polluting, causing climate change and health problems and whatever else they can tag on to the oil industry. Kind of like something like what they did with the opioids lawsuits, where I'm not sure if doctors prescribe opioids, what you want Rite Aid and Walgreens and the rest of them and the pharmaceutical companies to do. And they created the drugs. Doctors prescribed them, and somehow the pharmaceutical company and the pharmacies got in trouble for it. I would have probably appealed that onto the Superior Court. But they want to have something like that for the oil industry. And they want the oil industry to pay for all the climate problems. Even though the Earth seems to go through these cycles. The Earth's been around a long time. We've had ice ages and floods. It's all documented through science and religions. Happens a lot. Earthquakes, all this stuff happens. The ice melts and the ice freezes, that sort of thing. It's been going on forever. Actually, the biggest hurricanes we had, I remember years ago I did a piece on it. I think all the top 10 hurricanes all occurred in the 1800s or early 1900s, that sort of thing, before we could blame it on the oil industry and cars and all. But that doesn't matter. I'm not a climate proponent here. The Earth goes through its cycles, and it will continue to go through the cycles. And until we get hit with an asteroid, and things will start over again, the reset button will be hit. Now, if you want to try to pursue this, I'm sure the oil companies will be far more formidable than the pharmaceutical industry. If you are against fossil fuels and oil, and you're a proponent of this bill and you're supporting it, I assume you're not going to use any fossil fuels, right? You're not going to get in your car after being at a rally for fossil fuels. I would assume you're going to cut off that because you're against fossil fuels. I don't know where this country would be or this world would be without fossil fuels. What oil has done, it has taken us really from the dark ages, really. When Rockefeller started refining it with kerosene and oils, it brought light to the nations. It jump-started the farming industry. Henry Ford with the cars, travel, ships, everything that built this country and the world was built on oil. Kind of hard to throw a rock at them now, but we'll try and we'll blame them. As we're sitting in front of our table here that was manufactured using oil that generated the energy. The This is probably not real wood, so it's probably oil-based. The plastic, that computer, everything I'm looking around here, everything that I'm looking at has oil in it somewhere from the oil industry. There was a rally in Hoboken recently. I think it was this past weekend, where everybody's rallying to support this bill against the fossil fuel industry. And after that, they all got in their cars and went home. There's no way you can get around not using fossil fuels. Actually, we need to embrace that because the wind and the solar ain't working out. So fossil fuels are very reliable, and it burns a lot cleaner than it used to. And everybody keeps pointing to climate change from fossil fuels. They're also pointing to cows not too long ago. The Earth is going to go through its cycles. That's a given. It's part of nature. The fossil fuel industry, it's built this country and this world, and it will continue to do that. Now, people keep talking about the renewables. It's definitely not going to happen in my lifetime. For that matter, even New York is now, even Jersey, I just read this morning, is looking at restarting nuclear plants and getting on board with the smaller nuclear reactors. There's always some people who cry about that. But you're going to need the fossil fuels. And I think Craig Guy, I do have to talk to him. Hopefully I'll talk to him tomorrow. I'm going to ask him, say, well, you're supporting this bill. I guess the county is not going to use any fossil fuels anymore. Wouldn't it be kind of hypocritical if you're talking about supporting a bill? This is anybody, not just Craig Guy in the county. If you're supporting this bill and you're still using fossil fuels, doesn't make sense to me. But then again, nobody ever questions these people at these rallies. Where do you live? Do you live in a cave? You're going to close out of leaves? What are you going to do? Everything finds its roots in fossil fuels. It completely started the industrial era in the United States. It is the reason we became the leading nation in this world. Going into World War I, we weren't exactly in the make his aim there. Coming out, we were. And in World War II, we were the world leaders. That's because we embraced the fossil fuels. It put us into the industrial era. It put America on wheels. For that matter, any rubber you happen to touch is oil. Everything, the plastic on your phones, it's oil-based. So I don't know where we had this thought that we're going to attack the fossil and oil fuel industry. Just stop using it. That's what anybody who's supporting that bill, I want you to stop using anything with fossil fuels, anything created with it, anything that was manufactured with fossil fuels. That fan I'm looking at over there is manufactured using fossil fuels that generated the energy. Those podiums behind you, those chairs, all this. So if you want to go into the fossil fuel industry, you got to stop using it. When I talk to Craig Guy, I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture of him supporting this bill. And that's Craig. And let me look at the commissioners next agenda and see how much fossil fuel is on there. There's a lot of fossil fuel on there, Craig. I'm going to ask you, why are we buying that? What do you think about this? Or does anybody think about this? I guarantee you all those people at that rally in Hoboken didn't think about it at all. They have no idea how important fossil fuels are. Those dinosaurs gave up their lives for fossil fuel. So we can have the life we have. Those dinosaurs gave it up. A lot of dinosaurs make all that fossil fuel. But it's astonishing. Everything you look at, the cars, to your homes, the houses you live in, the apartments you live in, oil, plastic, almost anything that's manufactured is connected to fossil fuels and oil, one way or another. It's all connected. So when you're supporting this bill, and again, this is a bill in Trenton, 4696, if you're supporting that, you should stop using anything that has to do with fossil fuels. All right, we're going to break for commercial. Listen to the City Show Radio. I'll be right back.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunnelly Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunnelly Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
We're back. City Show here. Pat O'Melia on GGR Radio. I don't hear myself in my headphones. Did we touch something there? Yesterday in Secaucus, they dedicated a new community center, the Mayor Mike Ganelli Community Center at 101 Center Street. Nice building, nice red brick building. Looks good. It's actually, I tell you, Secaucus, it's an excellently managed city. It managed to separate industrial from the residents, keeps things nice and clean. What was really good, Friday, I was down at Seaside instead of being up here. Their tractor trailer flipped over on New County Road and Seaview. I would have tied me up for a long time getting to work. But congratulations to Secaucus. Nice community center. Right now, pretty much in the middle of town there. And congratulations. Recognition of Mayor Mike Ganelli. Maybe I'll go over when we come back on hiatus, get some pictures of that. Speaking of well-run communities, North Bergen Township with Mayor Nicholas Sacco. There's still the ongoing saga of the Braddock Park Preschool. Now, I've talked about this many times. I can't think of a better place for a preschool than in a park. It's ideal for the children. It is safe. They can go out at recess, and they're outside the school, and they're in a park. It's easy for the parents to pick them up. The parents can pick them up to school, then go enjoy the park. There's none of this city or township traffic. You're in the park. And there are some people who are against that. They've had the trailers in the park for about 20 years. You know, it's a growing community, but there isn't a lot of available land in North Bergen. So they've had the park trailers in Braddock Park. And before anybody says, well, check out park space, it is less than 1% of the park space that the park trailers or this pre-K school will take up. Less than 1%. For that matter, you go to Lincoln Park and you look at the Buddy Demolier Operations Center, right at the corner of Lincoln Park. The pre-K school would be smaller than the Operations Center. But I didn't see hear any uproar over the Operations Center in Lincoln Park. We have an uproar over a school. I would think having a school would be more acceptable to the park enthusiasts than an Operations Center that has, dumpsters and tow trucks and all this other stuff in there. But I guess not. Seems we're against schools. Again, Lincoln Park, we had the casino in the park, now you have the View. If we're so concerned about utilizing the park space for the park goers, why the hell do we have a restaurant in there and bar, the View? Where was the uproar when they knocked down the casino in the park? Should have been, we don't want that view in there. We want that property and that land so the park people can enjoy it on a daily basis. Let me tell you about Jersey Seaport. we like to have parks, but we aren't overcrowding these parks. It's not like people are standing on the sidewalks waiting to get in the park with picnic baskets in their hand. They're not overrun like Mosquito Park at Leonard Gordon Park in the Heights, right on Manhattan Avenue. I ride by it all the time. There might be people in there. I don't see them. But, yeah, we've never been really park people in Jersey City. Now, Liberty State Park, they get some people down there, but it's not huge crowds. Whenever I can go there, I can park. It's never been so packed that I couldn't get in there. But I don't think I've ever seen it packed in there. We all want parks, I guess. But just, we're not going to go use them. Simple as that. Yeah, go to Lincoln Park. I see a lot of grass, don't see a lot of people out there. Like the recreation, like the tracks and all. You listen to these park people, we shouldn't have that. We should be just sitting on the grass. But no, there are many complexes in these parks, county and municipal. But where's the uproar over that? But we'll have a problem. And it's the same friggin' voices, too. The same couple of people, handful of people, Walden, Bull, Bloomberg, the same people who keep complaining about this, where we have hundreds of kids that will utilize that school. I got the same 4 or 5 people who have a problem with a school there. Now, the county's already signed off on it. It's been going on for years. The state signed off on it, as I understand it now. Stop it. It is an ideal place. I would like to see more municipalities utilize a big park like that. Lincoln Park would be ideal. The problem is with Jersey City, it is so huge, we don't have that many parks. We have a lot of playgrounds. Where I got a playground, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put a pre-K school there. But there's no way I can accommodate all the needs of pre-Ks in our park situations in Jersey City. Lincoln Park could certainly handle it. Probably Mercer, Berry Lane could definitely handle it. But not all the parks are large enough to do that. It would be great if it was. It would be ideal. You can't find a better location for a pre-K. Now, I'm not talking about putting an elementary school in there or a junior high or a high school. I'm talking about pre-K. I'm talking 3, 4-year-old kids. Ideal location. But some people just can't see that. It's just some people, very few some people, maybe 4 or 5 some people. They just had a community meeting, I think it was last week. I read the story on it. It seemed very overwhelmingly positive for the school. Alumni, people who were in that school when they were kids were speaking in favor of the school. It's an ideal location for it. Now, I got, anytime somebody does something in Braddock Park now, I got these guys, the same 2 or 3 people that question, why is this being done in Braddock Park? Why is that being done in Braddock Park? It's just part that driveway. That driveway is where they might put the school. Jeez, sit down and shut up. It is an ideal location for a pre-K school. Why these 2 or 3 people cannot get that in their head, I don't know. But hopefully, and maybe when I come back, I should really get more involved in this and have some town hall meetings, radio town hall meetings, where we can get more resident feedback on this. And I know it's going to be like 90% in favor. Who the hell in their right mind has a problem with a pre-K school in a park? Again, I'm not talking elementary, not talking junior high or a high school. I'm talking preschool. 3 and 4-year-old kids. And taking up less than 1% of the park space. Taking up less space than the county operations center is taken up in Lincoln Park. Probably taking up less space than the view in Lincoln Park when you add in the parking. Parking, yes, there's actually parking there too. I don't know how they got that in there. That's amazing considering it's in Jersey City. So when you read the letters, that's a good thing about Jersey Journal. At least the Walden guys doesn't have any letters anymore. It's always the same 2 names. And I think people are starting to realize that. And I know I pointed it out, and I'm pointing it out today. It's the same 2 people. Maybe a 3rd person pops up every so often, but it's a handful of people. I don't know what their issue is. Maybe they don't like kids. Maybe they don't like kids. They don't like puppies. I don't know what the case is. But there is not a better location than a nice, safe park that can be patrolled by the Hudson County Sheriffs and the North Bergen Police. And it's off the beaten path. It's off the main roads. It is safe. North Bergen, they just purchased the old high-tech high school off Tunley Avenue, where my daughter graduated from back when it was high-tech. Now it's a North Bergen junior high. I think it's opening this September. Classes 8 through 9 will be in there. No, 7 through 8, 7 through 8. Then I think next year they bring in some of the high school classes, making it a junior high. Now, North Bergen is doing all they can with the limited funds they have. Again, they're not an Abbott district when it comes to schools, so they have to pay for their own schools, unlike their surrounding municipalities, and it has to come out of the taxpayers' pockets. So Nick Sacco has done an excellent job buying that property on Tunley Avenue. Tough location, but you're going to bust the kids anyway, so it wouldn't be ideal for the pre-K. But good job by Nick Sacco and the North Bergen Board of Education buying the old high-tech and renovating it. The first one they had to do was mitigate the floods. My daughter Gina told me when she went there, they were trying to get out of school, the water would literally be past their knees. It was so deep. And this was not a rarity. This was pretty often. Pretty often that happened. I know they just installed the North Bergen MUA just installed a 5 million gallon tank to catch the water coming down the hills and disperse it underground. And there's 2 other flood mitigation projects on 85th Street, another one on Manzoni Place to fight the flooding. So when that opens up September, you won't have to doggy paddle out of school. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You're listening to the City Show Radio. I'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just 1 pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
We're back. City Show here. Pat O'Neill, you're on GGR. Got about 6 minutes or so left to show. As I may have mentioned in the past and also during the show, I'm not a fan of bike lanes. Never have been. And neither are the people in the southern end of Jersey City. There was a community meeting hosted by Councilman Frank Gilmore concerning the city's proposal to convert MLK Drive and Ocean Avenue into one-way streets and put in bike lanes and bus lanes and, lanes and bowling lanes, whatever kind of lanes they want to throw in there. Problem is, Jersey City didn't really communicate this to the people of MLK and Ocean Avenue and the southern end of Jersey City. And they only found out about this kind of secondhand, and they already voiced their displeasure with these plans. Now they got to face the city's infrastructure people. Again, Councilman Gilmore hosted a community meeting, which got pretty contentious because, first off, the city was unprepared for this presentation. They didn't have like half the answers to the questions these people asked. Why do this? If you don't have the answers, you don't have the statistics, you don't have any of this. And the people started getting very tense. There was some use of vulgarities. There was some things that could be considered threatening. And somebody from the city said, we're only the messenger. And somebody yelled out, they shoot the messages. So things got pretty tense there for a while. But probably kind of scary. But the problem, again, you don't communicate. Again, this is, again, Steve Fulop, again, known him for like 20-some-odd years. I agree with most of what he does. Some of the stuff he does with the streets and the bike lanes and the Vision Zero just absolutely makes no sense. And I commend the residents of the southern end of the city for standing up and saying, no, not here. You're not changing our our section of the city. And they were right. They're talking about how it would affect getting the kids to school, seniors, the businesses there. It was never even a second thought for the city on any of those. They had no numbers. They had nothing. And that became quite obvious as this meeting went on. And things started getting tense. And like I said, could have used some better verbiage there, but people, they're saying, listen, how long are you going to just disrespect us? You're going to stuff this down our throat? We don't want this. We got our area starting to turn around. Is it perfect? No. There's still more things we need to do, but it is starting to turn around. And it's because of participation of strong-willed people in that section of the city. Not like what you got up here on like Palisade Avenue where, just want to put the bike lanes in? Okay. Put the bike lanes in. I think I'll be right. No, it's not. You're just tying up your section of the city. You're hurting the park. You're hurting the people that live there. You're hurting the businesses. But again, it looks good, doesn't it? It doesn't look good to people. We got a bike lane here. Again, I rode all around this city when I was a kid on a bike. I was like 10 years old. I need all these protected bike lanes. But like I said earlier, I must have been an exceptional bicyclist. And if these bike lanes actually connected and went somewhere, it may even make more sense. But it doesn't do that either. I tell you, next time, I got to go out of my way to take a picture of the incredibly stupid and comical bike lanes by Five Corners. It is insane what the city did there. It's as if they know nothing about streets. And I'm starting to wonder if they do. Because the residents up there on MLK and Ocean, they're 100% right. Everything they spoke about was 100% right. Leave us alone. Actually, if you can go back to bringing some of the stuff we lost would be good. We used to have a lot of bus service up here. Now we don't. You want to help us revitalize the business community, fine, but making a one-way street here isn't going to do it. Help us. Now we're talking about putting rapid bus transit lanes in, but we have no buses anymore. We only got New Jersey Transit, and they're awful. They're absolutely awful. That's like almost a waste of money. So I commend, and I 100% support the residents on the southern end of the city there on MLK and Ocean. Good job. Probably shouldn't be as threatening as you were, but you probably got a little tense. But again, I support you. Good job by you all. Governor Murphy and Raj McCurkey, our state senator, authored a new bill where they're attacking the grid operator. They want transparency with the grid operation. And it's all due to the rising prices of electric. You've seen your bills. They're going to get worse also. There's more increases coming. The grid operator is not the problem. We're not generating any electricity. We're not doing it. We closed like 4 or 6 generating plants in Jersey. Then we prevented new ones from coming on. And then the bills went up. And then people started pointing fingers at the Democrats in the Trenton, and rightfully so. That's what's got to happen in November. You got to sit and say, who do I want to send back, or do I want to send any of these people back? Because they're making my life very expensive with ideology that doesn't work and plans that don't work. And you know what? They knew it wasn't going to work. So that's a decision you got to make. Attacking the grid operator, Raj, that's not it, baby. They're not the problem. Safe Streets. Safe Streets and Mikey Sherrill, candidate for governor here in New Jersey, are against the New Jersey widening project, the Jersey Turnpike. They claim it'll bring more cars, it'll bring more traffic, it'll bring more pollution. Here's the shock for you. That's already here, the cars. Pollution, cars, not like the old days, but they still pollute somewhat. And traffic, Is it going to be more? Nobody's getting on the friggin' turnpike saying, hey, it's wide now, let's talk about it, Jersey City. And the other thing is, the project just doesn't go to Jersey City. It goes to Bayonne, it goes north and south. If you go on a turnpike, commerce has to go through. This project has to go through. Now, people saying, well, we can use this money for mass transit. First off, it's not taxpayer dollars. This is toll money that's going to pay off those bonds. Nobody talks about that. It's just constant, despicable deceit. The project has to go through, and it will go through. Has to be. And New Jersey Transit and mass transit, it should pay the actual freight, what it actually costs to run that transit system. All right, I'm out of the show. You be good. You be safe. Talk to you next week. Good night.